Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
American Giant makes great clothing, sweatshirts, jeans, and more right here in the U.S. Visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com, code STAPLE20.
The way we work is changing every day, thanks in large part to the internet. So if you're an online creator, what can you do to create a sustainable future for yourself? On Attach Your Resume, creators share how their jobs work, especially during times like these where big changes are happening in the online world. Listen to interviews with internet reporter Taylor Lorenz, CEO of Patreon Jack Conte, representatives from Defector, Aftermath, and more. Whether you're an online creator yourself or curious about what's going on in the online Wild West, search Attach Your Resume wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Awakening Women podcast. In this episode, we're talking about the most sanitized form of emotional manipulation and gaslighting. And that is the "I was just joking" blanket over top of criticism, cutting remarks, emotionally abusive comments, disrespect, cruelty, bad jokes, bad taste, being rude, the whole thing. Now, can we all engage in maybe saying the wrong thing, saying thing out of turn, saying something that we really do mean, but say it in a joking manner, and we realize there's actually some truth in that? Like, there is a form of this that can just be a way to deflect from seriousness, to deflect from emotional connection. What I'm talking about here is a pervasive cycle of these types of comments or things being done that impact you in a negative way. And instead of taking full responsibility, being emotionally mature, and taking ownership, as well as having empathy and remorse for the impact that it had on you, instead of that, and owning it and saying, I see why that would have not been funny, or I can see why that would have been offensive, that wasn't nice, that kind of thing. That's sometimes all we want to hear. But if this is a thing going on over and over and over and over again, and you're told that, I was just joking, you're so sensitive, what's wrong with you, you're always looking for a fight, go see a therapist, you're never happy, you're always so miserable, and on it goes. So the way that I see it is that it's not so much just the personality type that maybe gives jabs or passive-aggressive comments and then puts a blanket of "I was just joking." Like there's this joker type of person that maybe they have a good a good sense of humor, and they can be funny at times, and then sometimes it goes over into the not so funny zone, and you can check them and they redirect themselves. That's one thing. And even that can get obnoxious too after a while. Bad jokes are usually just that. They're bad jokes and they're not funny. So if you are with someone that has a pervasive pattern of the "I'm just joking" type over to try and cover up emotionally abusive, cruel, disrespectful, and mean behavior, that is a form of gaslighting. Now, the thing that makes it the gaslight is that they flip it onto you, that there's something wrong with you, that you found that offensive. So it's not just maybe the joker type that makes bad jokes and maybe crosses the line sometimes into not funny zone, and someone that can take accountability instead of just brushing it off as a joke, because that's a separate issue, right? It's two different things. We can all make jokes that weren't received well. That can happen. I know I've done it, and it happens on occasion. Or saying something to someone that hit wrong and they didn't quite like it, and I wasn't maybe taking full accountability for my feelings or bringing it up in an adult way. It has happened with my daughters where I've said something in a kind of teasing manner and they didn't like it. So instead of saying, "Oh my God, I didn't mean it that way," come on, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it that way," or "I'm sorry that impacted you the way that it did." And hug them and own it, right? So this can happen in all relationships. So I really want to add this in because this is something I've experienced a lot in my life, like across the board with friends at times, family members, and significant other relationships. And so I've had to learn to deprogram myself from that and to be able to discern when a joke was just a joke that was harmless, that didn't mean anything, or that it wasn't intended, but also, is this happening on repeat over and over and over again? Because that's another thing altogether. And so I love a good joke. I love joking around. I love cracking jokes. I like laughing. I have a good sense of humor. So, when you are being told you just don't have a sense of humor, when someone is saying something cruel, mean, insensitive, mean, nasty, and instead of taking ownership, they throw it back on you that it was a joke and that you don't have a sense of humor. When in fact, you probably do have a sense of humor. Do you laugh at comedy shows? Do you laugh at stand-up comedy? I was just at a comedy show last weekend, the Seinfeld live comedy show. I laughed so hard that my face hurt. I have a good sense of humor. But when it goes into, that felt like a jab, no one's laughing. No one's laughing at that. And nobody would like that. Even the one who's delivering it wouldn't like that. So we need to really get honest with ourselves around what joking is, and when someone is using joking as a way to sanitize emotional abuse, taking jabs, cutting you down, putting you down, saying things that are hurtful and all that. So here's why just joking is a big red flag in most cases. And again, this is where it crosses that line into where it's harmful. Is this happening on a recurring basis where you're constantly feeling hurt continually, consistently by things that this person is saying and doing, and they're not taking any ownership? It's just the same thing. I was just joking. Take a joke. I wasn't serious. I didn't mean it that way. That wasn't my intention. Blah, blah, blah. So the first thing to do is to check yourself and see where maybe you do this in any form in any of your relationships. If you don't, great. But I think that we can all do it on occasion when we're not taking responsibility for a passive-aggressive comment that we made that wasn't really joking, right? There's a difference between that and someone who's intentionally doing this to undermine you and torture you and tear you down, right? Knock you down. So number one, it shows a lack of personal accountability. When someone says or does something hurtful or offensive and says, I was just joking, they're bypassing impact and covering up mean or passive-aggressive behavior most times. Number two, it is usually a mask for passive aggression. This points toward a person's emotional maturity level. If they cannot come to you and be direct about their wishes, intentions, or feelings, and rather use passive-aggressive remarks or behavior, they are showing you that they are still an emotional child. Number three, it's covert emotional manipulation. When someone says something hurtful or underhanded and then slaps a joke label on it, it's not about humor. It's about power, control, and dodging accountability while getting away with getting their jab in. Number four, it's avoidance of direct conflict. Instead of being an emotional grown-up and saying what they truly mean in a direct and skillful way, they sidestep and drip it out in a haha, was just a joke type of bullshit. Number five, it is emotional masking. They're expressing hostility or criticism in a socially acceptable wrapper. It puts you in a bind so that if you react, you look like the uptight one that can't take a joke. If you don't say anything, then they get away with it. Number six, it's boundary testing. They're checking how much disrespect you'll tolerate. Sometimes speaking up will be enough for a self-aware person who cares for you, but often it is only going to get worse over time. Boundary testers are showing their level of disrespect for you. And so this is really important to keep in mind when it comes to this behavior of humans that use the I'm just joking label over top of mean, insensitive, cruel, hurtful, harmful, insulting, quote unquote jokes. And I know that when you have experienced this type of emotional manipulation, it's really difficult to reprogram that and be able to just relax and be able to take a joke or someone teasing you or razzing you in a way and not immediately taking that way. And that can take some time. It takes some discernment. It takes a level of how much of this is from I've experienced or how much of this is truly what is going on right now in front of me, and that I don't like it and that it's not going to work for me, whatever the reason is, whyever the reason the person is doing it. Because eventually we have to get to a place where that doesn't matter anymore, why they're doing it. It's that they're doing it and it's causing mental, emotional harm. It's causing a disruption to our peace. It's making us feel, repelled to them. And the attraction is not there. We're not feeling emotionally safe with them. That's the impact of this type of behavior over time. And so if you've been dealing with that for decades and decades and decades, it starts to just wear you down. It's like the saying, death by 1,000 paper cuts, I'm just joking. If I ever hear that now, I'm just like, I fucking hate that phrase. I hate that phrase. I absolutely hate it. Even if someone was joking, I hate it. And so maybe you can relate to that. Don't tell me you're joking. Tell me, oh yeah, you're right. I made a jab. That was wrong. Here's what I meant. Here's why I said it. This is not how it should have. I should have said it differently. Wasn't the right way. Literally anything else. What I meant to say was this. I take that back. Here's what I really meant to say or should have said. Let's try literally anything else. No, you're right. I wasn't joking because there was an air of truth in this and I was too afraid to bring it to your attention in a adult way. So I'm masking it as a quote unquote joke. Ha, isn't it funny? Now, if that's something that you can just take one for the team and deal with those punches, the emotional punches, then great. But I think most of us, especially when we have experienced this in a relationship, we have very low tolerance for that kind of stuff. And it eventually just comes really obnoxious and annoying and unattractive. And this is especially true when it comes to intimate relationships. There's a time and place for joking, but there's also a time and place where it just becomes just ridiculous and not funny, and nobody wants it. Nobody finds it funny. So if this is something that you resonate with, I have something for you. Head to the link in the show notes and download the Ungaslight Yourself responses that I've created to some of the common things that these types will throw out, and some one-liners that you can throw back to shut that shit down. You can download the PDF instantly by heading to the link in the show notes and grabbing that copy. And then you can have them in your phone. If it's through text, you could just copy and paste them from your phone notes, tweak them a little bit. But the point here is to shut it down and not give them any more fuel. Don't get in a back and forth. Don't send long paragraphs about this, that, and the other. It's a waste of your emotional energy with these types because they don't care. You can tell they don't care because they keep doing it. If you use these responses, it's a way for you to kind of take the mental, emotional energy out of it and have these scripts to use whether it's in person or through texting, which I find it even more effective because let me tell you about those text wars with these manipulative types. They can go on and on and on forever and ever. And you're just in this hypervigilant state, texting paragraphs, and they're firing them back just as fast and no one is getting anything out of it. And you are hijacking your nervous system, throwing your hormones off, wearing out your adrenal glands because they can't keep up every time you get into one of those interactions or text wars. So grab the link in the show notes to get those scripts that you can send, copy, paste, or just have them in your mind ready to go and practice them so that you don't get caught up in the emotional manipulation of I was just joking and there's something wrong with you for not thinking that's funny. All right, that's it for this edition. And if this episode has helped you or this podcast has helped you, please take 1 second right now as you're listening and scroll down into the review section and leave a 5-star rating and a written review if this show has helped you at all. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
This country was built on a distinctly American work ethic, but today, work is in trouble. We've outsourced most of our manufacturing to other countries, and with that, we sent away good jobs and diminished our capability to make things. American Giant is a clothing company that's pushing back against this tide. They make a variety of high-quality clothing and activewear, like sweatshirts, jeans, dresses, jackets, and so much more. All made right here in the USA, from growing the cotton and adding the final touches. So when you buy American Giant, you create jobs for seamsters, cutters, and factory workers in towns and cities across the United States. And it's about more than an income. Jobs bring pride, purpose. They stitch people together. If all that sounds good to you, visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order when you use code STAPLE20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with promo code STAPLE20.